we are, Talkin Trader Joe's. We get together and have a very free-form conversation about Trader Joe's culture, Trader Joe's products. I'm Stephen Huffaker.
And I'm Mr. Mark Columbus, and here we are. We've been doing this show for quite some time now. Please feel free to leave a review whenever you guys get a chance. Steve, what was your last visit like to Trader Joe's?
It was an experience. The cashier gal had tattoos all over her arms. Of course, she was very friendly, even with the tattoos, and that I was kind of surprised about because here she is. I'm like, did you just come out of prison? Or But no, she was very friendly. I did have a little bit of anxiety. They are ringing up all of your items. There's only one gal there, and I'm wondering, am I supposed to put the items in the paper bag? Is she going to? I usually make an attempt, but I don't know when to double bag, when to single bag. So there was a little bit of anxiety there. I kind of just felt it out with her, and she did help me after she rang up the items. But of course, for us as a customer, multitasking, the paying with the credit card and then hopping over and bagging, I mean, you don't want to feel like a bourgeoisie waiting for them to bag it, but at the same time, there's reason to feel confused and to feel alienated by the whole experience there. So,
well, Steve, that's a whole point of contention, and they're starting to charge 10 cents for every bag. So then when they presume that you want a bag and they incur that charge without telling you, that's something that you should really look into. And I would, that is a point of contention. And that is one of my main critiques of Trader Joe's, my biggest criticisms while I've been going there in my 5 or 6 year tenure so far. I used to go to Whole Foods before, but then things got kind of political with Whole Foods. And then I kind of went back down to Trader Joe's. Usually people go from Trader Joe's to Whole Foods, and I kind of went the other way. But that's a whole nother story.
It's definitely a point of contention, and it's something that I'm glad we're getting a chance to talk about here, because I remember you calling me the first time you went to Trader Joe's from the coffee sample table. You were on cloud nine.
How could I forget? Sometimes they don't have the soy milk there, and that is something that I've kind of talked about with them, and they've made the necessary changes. But every now and then, when they don't have the soy, the stevia does make up for it, and that kind of gets you going. It kind of gets you in the mood to shop.
Now, are you a breakfast blend, or are you a Tanzanian, or Costa Rican? What varietal?
That's a tough one, and if you put a gun to my head, I'm gonna have to go with the Blue Bali. But that's only when that's on a good payday, because they can kind of get up to like the $7 or $8.99 bracket. But on a day where I'm hung up a little bit on the monetary end of things, I like to go down to the dark roast, the plain old Trader Joe's brand. You can't go wrong with that. And I want to also just move on to the recent rise in prices. Have you heard about this, Stephen? With the infamous Charles Shaw brand?
Oh, I did hear.
Yeah, the $2 chuck, it's not $2 anymore. It's $3 now. So there's a lot happening here. I'm not saying it has to do with the Trump era, but things are changing. Things are happening. Prices are rising, and I don't know what it has to do with, but
it's disheartening to say the least. And that brand, that moniker, $2 Chuck, was such a quintessential Trader Joe's. It was emblematic of the brand. And to lose that, you gotta wonder, you have these warehouse shops like Costco clearly taking a hit on their roasted chicken, clearly taking a hit on their hot dogs, on their pizza, in order to service this brand Costco lowest priced product. And you would have thought that they would have had the foresight to realize that $2 Chuck was worth more than the extra buck. I don't know. How do you feel?
Well, a lot of these brands are just kind of relying on their brands, and that's it. They're kind of forgetting, about the common people that Costco just kind of thinks it can just throw its weight around. These brands like Whole Foods and Trader Joe's, they just they think they own the place.
Right. And I'd rather we not get too political on the podcast. And I do want to cut Joe some slack here, because you still go to Whole Foods, you still go to Costco, and you find their proprietary wines $4 or $5. So you're still getting a cheaper deal at TJ's.
Right. And to your point, yes, you are still getting a good deal at Trader Joe's. But that's it. I mean, I don't want to say too much more on it. I know it's kind of a heated topic, so.
And I'm not going to disagree with you on that, but I would like to move on.
Okay, that's fair.
So what we have now is a list. I guess you could say procured this list from Trader Joe's. I emailed them specifically and I received a list of all of the Trader Joe's variations. So, like, the Trader Jose's, Trader Ming's. I have the complete list, and this is coming straight from the horse's mouth, if you will. So here we go. We have Trader Jose's, and then they designate.
Right, okay, with the parentheses there. Parentheses, Mexican food. Okay, next up is the Trader Ming's, which of course is a Chinese food. And then they got the Baker Joseph. Is it J silent on that?
I think it's Baker Yosef. That's
Okay.
for flour and bagels, and that would be, I believe, a Yiddish heritage.
And then we have the Trader Giotto's, which are for the Italian, and I love Italian food, right?
Oh, I love it too.
And then we have the Trader Joe-san. Okay, with the Japanese food, now we're getting into something interesting here, because I don't think Trader Joe's has dabbled in the Orient as of late. We've kind of gone south, we've gone west, and now we're getting into the Orient, kind of like the mystique of Japanese food. I'm really curious to see what Trader Joe-san has to offer.
Next, we have Arabian Joe's. That is the Middle Eastern, I guess. They decided to, rather than changing the name to something like Trader, Muhammad, they went with Arabian Joe's, which is...
That's a good call on Trader Joe's part, because these are sensitive times, and I think that to go with the Arabian Joe's, I think that's, that was a very classy choice on the Trader Joe's family's part. And we have Trader Darwin's, which is a vitamin and health supplements section. And that kind of just attests to the Trader Joe's family and what they stand for, which is kind of inclusiveness and kind of showing the patchwork of America. So I feel like we kind of covered a lot of the main nationalities, that are in the world today. We went south of the border, like you said, Steve. We tangled with the dragons out in the Far East, and we went through the valleys of the Alps, and down to the mysteries of the Congo and Africa.
Absolutely, and I think that's a great note to end this week. We covered a lot, and I think it was a great episode. Really, I feel really good about it. How do you feel?
No, I feel really good about it. I feel like we covered a lot, and feel free to come back and check out some of our archives. There's a lot of good stuff there, like Steve mentioned.
All right, I think that's a great note to end with. Thank you, and we'll see you next week
On Talking Trader Joe's.